Welcome. Thank you. This afternoon, these are our special sessions that we put on for the convenience and fun of the people who are arriving to COFES early. This is our 16th annual COFES. And we wouldn't be able to do it if we didn't have support from our sponsors, our continuing meal sponsor First, our Tech Suite sponsors, and you'll learn more about our Tech Suites later on, our hospitality sponsors. And I just want to say how happy and delighted that we are here to do this 16 times. When Joel and Evan and I started doing this in 2000, or actually in late 1999 when we were thinking about doing the summit, we talked to John Hirschtick, we talked to a few others of you, and decided that the industry needed something. And here we are. None of us ever thought we would still be doing this 16 years later. This morning, or this afternoon, we're going to have a very abbreviated session on the World Update. Typically, we do this at 3 o'clock, and we have an hour dedicated to it, and I would present in too much detail the research that we have in progress, and then we'd have information from others. This year, we have not yet started our annual survey. And so what I'm going to be doing is talking for a couple of minutes about what we plan to be doing to give you some input on it and potentially have an impact on it. And then we'll hear from John Petty of John Petty Research and from Peter Thorne from Kambashi. And then we will get into the assess follow-up, which we'll tell you more about in about 25 minutes. So I'm going to breeze through. What I typically would do would give you a whole bunch of slides like these with lots of detail on very specific questions. And if you're interested in any of them, you can go back to the COFES website, click on videos, and look at the presentations that I've had from prior years. But rather than do that, this year what I've decided to do is to talk a little bit about the surveys. And we do really two different types of surveys in odd years and even years. In one of those years, we've focused primarily on stickiness, and the other is on trend watch. So stickiness is really about what are your customers thinking? Are you happy with your current system or not? If you're not happy, why not switch? If you have switched, why did you switch? Was it worth it? What did you switch to and from? The whole purpose here is what is the viscosity of transition or the stickiness of systems? And it's not just CAD systems, but analysis systems, tools, PDM, et cetera. And we have some really interesting data on that, and we will continue to do that as we move forward. The trend watch, we look at what customers are paying attention to. And as technologies change and evolve, what we look at in the trend watch evolves as well, and these are the topics that we are planning on looking at as we move forward this year. And these are the general categories, but within them they are much more detailed. We also look at much more than just those things, and so we have a bunch of new questions that we are thinking about putting in about the Internet of Things. New questions for 2015. We want to know what changes in industries are impacting our customers and how they're impacting our customers, so we are going to be looking at that. But we're really trying to learn about customer attitudes, their expectations, what they are thinking about doing, and how that has changed over time. But the bottom line for my presentation is, what do you think we should be asking? So if you had the data, let's say that we asked the right questions. If you had the data that we collect, then my question to you is, what would you do with it? How would it change your thinking? Because we want to ask that question of you first. If we had the answer, what would you do with it? And once we know that, we can go back and reframe the questions. To give you an idea, our N values for these surveys range between 600 and 2,000. We have significant penetration. We do the survey in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, Chinese, and Japanese. And we collect data. We use your assistance in getting the surveys in the hands of others. So what I want you to be thinking about is, what should we be asking, and if you had the answers, what would you do with it? Let me know. And we have probably till the end of April to impact the survey. And if what you have is interesting, we'll put it in there. And that's all I had to say. We'll bring up John Petty.